Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. And we are so excited to start the CBAP study group session, and all thanks to IIBA Tampa Bay chapter, because we are so new to the study group, and Thea graciously accepted that she will co-facilitate the sessions with us. Thank you so much, Thea. Thea is VP of Professional Development and Training with IIBA Tampa Bay chapter, and she has led more than 100 study groups. That's commendable. Yeah, I know. That's commendable. And I could not ask for any better trainer for our IIBA Ireland chapter. Thank you so much.
You are too kind. Yeah. My pleasure. Actually, in my career for business analysis, project management, and Agile, I've trained over 1,000 people. And so just with Tampa Bay, I've had over 100 study groups, and most of those are on YouTube, and you're going to provide that link to them. But I'm excited to get this started to help raise our community.
Absolutely. Welcome, everyone. Okay, so without any further delay, I'm going to start. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so this is our IIB Ireland chapter's first study group session. First study group and first session of first study group. Our vision and mission is basically to help all the BAs in Ireland and globally as well. Also making the business analysis profession well known, because sometimes I personally was also confused that I was doing BA work when I started my career. So making people realize they might not be associated with the title of business analyst, but they are doing the business analysis work. And also CBAP is the highest certification. So this group session study group is basically dedicated to CBAP study group, but nevertheless, since CBAP is the highest milestone in the BA career, this study group will be helpful for the CCBA and ECBA as well. You can reach out to IIB Ireland chapter on website, our LinkedIn page, YouTube channel. Go ahead and scan the QR code. And also I have provided a link for YouTube channel of Tampa Bay, where you have lots of videos of the study group sessions, of the professional development. Go ahead and get advantage of it. It's really awesome resource. Our team is, our president at IIBA Ireland chapter is James Dean. You can reach out to him at president@ireland.iiba.org. VP of event planning is Joao, and you can reach out to him at events@ireland.iiba.org. Our VP of corporate membership and sponsorship is Victoria Agu. You can reach out to her at sponsorship@ireland.iiba.org. Our treasurer is Patrick, and I am the VP of professional development, and you can reach out to me at professionaldevelopment@ireland.iiba.org. Also, you can reach out to me and Thea, any of us, on the LinkedIn as well. So most of our schedule will be every other week we'll be having this study group session. Here is the schedule. First session is today, then 23rd, and we'll be covering, today we are just covering the intro and BA key concepts. Tomorrow will be, next session will be covering knowledge area 1, then knowledge area 2. Now, this can be a tentative schedule, because based on how we are progressing on the knowledge areas, we may go further 12th of September, because techniques itself are 50 techniques. So we might not be able to cover all the techniques in one session. So we might go for 2 or 3 sessions on this one. I would not forget to mention Watermark Learning. They are providing us the resources for the CBAP examinations and CBAP questions. So we can cover those questions in our study sessions. they are also giving us the discount codes. So if you are registering for the exam, just please reach out to me on the email ID and I can provide you with the discount code. Now I'll hand over to Thea to tell us about the difference, tell us about herself first, and then let us know about the CBAP study group, how it is going to progress.
Okay, thank you. Let me start by saying, like many of us, I've been doing business analysis longer than I knew that there was a term for business analysis. Back before I knew about the IIBA, I was making process flows and trying to figure out better ways to do things and asking, why do we do it this way? And so, you know, this is just normal for us. We're analytical, we're inquisitive, we're intelligent, and we communicate well. So that's where we are. You don't have to have a BA title to be a business analyst, but learning the rules and the processes and the techniques of business analysis can benefit anyone. If you're a salesperson, analyst, any role that you have, even a parent, you are doing business analysis. So learning these tools and techniques and theories, and then continuously learning is always beneficial. So I began with the IIBA about 15 years ago. My second or third meeting, I was suddenly the vice president of training because they needed one. And so I just started doing the training. Then they asked me to help write the book. So I wrote the book. I wrote the techniques chapter, the underlying competencies, and the glossary. So I am deeply involved with those things. But guys, that was 10 years ago. Things have changed a little bit since then. So what we are taking the test on is a book that's 10 years old. But to pass the test, you have to be able to answer the questions the way the test is written. I mean, the book is written because it's for the test. So you have to learn the book. You have to learn the voice of the book, the way it's written. So it's really important that you read it. If you are not a member of the IIBA, I encourage you to consider the discounts that you get for not only getting the book, but the application fee and the test fee. It makes up for the membership fee, in my opinion. And also, you get access to a few things. Let me share my screen. Oh, I need to be made a co-host, please, so that I can share my screen. While we wait for that,
I'll meet you.
Okay, thank you. The IIBA has a wonderful area called Knowledge Hub, which gives you a lot of great information about being a business analyst, not only in preparation for the test, but also a lot more. They give you the PMBOK, the Project Management Book of Knowledge. They give you a lot of agile tools. It's worth the money, in my opinion. But I want to give you a couple of addresses. I'm going to drop them here in the chat. If you're a member of the IIBA, you have easy access to this. The first one is Defining Business Analysis. It's going to take you through the basics. And so that's going to be beneficial to you. If you've never read the BABOK, it gives you a kind of a high-level intro. The next thing is we have two files that are kind of high-level intros for the introduction in Chapter 1 of the BABOK. And then the second file is Chapter 3, the first knowledge area. So what it's going to do is it's going to give you a high-level overview before you start reading the book. The book is over 500 pages. It's meaty. It's also a little bit boring sometimes. So having an intro to kind of get an orientation is a good way to start. I do encourage you to think about your learning style. If you need it on paper, get a paper book. If you can do it electronically, good for you. I've got to have paper, and I've got Post-it notes and markers and all kinds of stuff in my book so that I could really be able to understand it. Do what you need to do it. It's the most agile way, right? Do it the way you need it done. Okay, so studying this book, if you've never studied it before, it's going to take you a while. As I said, it's over 500 pages. There's lots to learn, and I encourage you to start with the very first page. Whenever I first started looking at the test, I noticed that there was a question in there about Zachman framework. Zachman framework is on the back of the title page. It's the only place in the whole book Zachman framework is mentioned. It doesn't explain to you what it is, but there's a question on the test, and I asked the IIBA, I said, why are we doing this? And they said, as professionals, we expect people to go in depth and look at what we have and go look for more. So the technical framework is a great technique. It's not mentioned anywhere else in the BABOK. I'm not telling you that it's going to be on your test, because every test is a little bit different. They've got a big bank of, I think, 1,500 or more questions, and they randomly give you a set of questions for your test. So you need to just start from the very beginning and look at it and be aware of what's in it. You're going to be prepared. I also don't want to understate the importance of you reading through the intro. The introduction is very basic. You're going to find questions all through the other knowledge areas about, as a business analyst, you do this. Well, even if you don't have the title of business analyst, if you're doing business analyst responsibilities, you are a business analyst. That's in the intro, and you're going to hear that statement over and over and over. So you really need to be aware of what's in the intro. Now, let's talk about the benefits of getting your certification. You may know, and if you do, I apologize, but just in case you don't, having a certification has two benefits. First of all, if your organization or your future organization values that certification, you're going to have a leg up on the people that don't have that certification. And our most recent surveys internationally have identified that if you do have the certification, you get paid more. Now, it's not 100% across the board, but as an average, you get paid more if you have the certification. Having the certification means that you're interested enough in being a professional in your career, in your profession, and in your self-education that you've invested the time and effort to do this. So having the certification has benefits. Now, I'm not saying that you have to have the certification to be a good BA, because not everyone that is a good BA can pass the test because of test anxiety or reading challenges or whatever. You can be a great BA without having the certification, but the certification has its definite benefits. I encourage you to at least try. Now, to pass the test, we don't know what the score has to be for you to pass the test, but the guess is it's only about 70%. So with the watermark practice test questions, we're going to be able to see what percentage we're getting as a group. And then if you want to do watermark on your own or another organization's practice test questions, you're welcome to. But that gives you an idea of if you can pass. Also, the BABOK is organized into knowledge areas, which are basically chapters. In the practice test questions, you can take questions on just one chapter at a time. So you can find out, this is the chapter I need to study. This is a chapter I'm not making a high enough score on to be able to pass, or I'm not comfortable with. So it's organized in a very logical way. What we are going to do, I tell you what, if you want to go ahead and show the practice test questions, let's just work on that for just a few minutes so people understand what we're talking about when we say practice test questions. These are not the questions you're going to see on the BABOK, on the CBAP certification. These are similar in a way, but they're a little bit different. They're provided by people who are educated and experienced, but not the people who actually wrote the test questions. Close enough, though, so that you can pass the test. There are 3 levels of the certifications for the BABOK. The ECBA is for beginners, people who don't have any experience and who have just studied the book, which most of us, started out that way. So we just have to study the book. And those are pretty simple questions. Then there is the CCBA for people that have 2 to 3 years of experience. It's a level 2 certification, and it covers slightly more advanced topics, just a little bit more than the BABOK. The ECBA covers a very limited number of knowledge areas. The CCBA covers more. And then the CBAP, you need 5 years of experience. It's a more advanced test. It covers all of the BABOK except for one section, and it's structured a little bit differently. It's structured that it gives you a scenario, a paragraph, and then it has 3 or 4, maybe 5 questions about situations that you can pull information out of that paragraph. Very good. Okay, let's go to the watermark learning, the
Yep.
practice test questions.
Yep, I'll share that. I'm not sure that if my whole screen was shared. I'll share the watermark question screen.
Okay.
Yep.
And
Can
one
you guys
thing
see?
that everyone can understand is we're all human and we're going to make mistakes and we're going to have technical difficulties, but we're going to do our very best and we're going to make it work for us. So this is the cover for watermark learning. So what I want to do is I want to go down from warm up down to drill on the left side.
Yeah, we are already at the drill after every
And
question.
then, okay, and then I want you to choose business analysis, planning, and monitoring, which is the first section we're going to cover. This is the first knowledge area. So we're going to begin a new exam. And so this is what it's going to give us. And as a facilitator, I'm going to do this. I'm going to read it. Which of the following is included in the business analysis approach? Corrective and preventive actions, workshops, the timing and the sequence of the business analysis work, or methodologies and frameworks. Now we know only one of these answers is the best answer according to the BABOK. And what we're going to do is first ask, are there any of these answers that are not in the BABOK? Because they always throw in something. It's like that word isn't even in the BABOK. So if anyone studied ahead, you want to tell us, come on off of mute and go ahead and tell us what you think the answer is that is not in the BABOK. Anybody?
I think B, workshops.
Okay, you think workshops is not in the BABOK?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, do we have a second answer?
Yes.
Okay, so we think, go ahead and speak, please.
Repeat.
Yes.
I'm sorry, say it again.
A is not on the BABOK.
A is not on the BABOK. So we have two answers. We have A not in the BABOK and B not in the BABOK. So we think that we can probably exclude either A or B. So which answer do we think is the right answer and why?
D, the last one.
Methodologies
D is in dog?
Yeah.
Okay. So
The
let's
last one.
go ahead and click methodologies and frameworks and check the answer. And it's going to tell us what the correct answer is. So the correct answer is timing and sequence of business analysis work. This is included in the approach. It's one of the primary components. It tells you where in the BABOK it is. This is chapter 3, section 1.8. And the incorrect answer, the reason methodologies and frameworks is not right, is listed in as guidelines and tools to the planned business analysis approach task, which is in chapter 3, 1.1. So one of the things I really like about Watermark is it tells you why an answer is wrong, as well as which one is the right answer. Every single time we have a wrong answer, it's our opportunity to learn. So there's no shame of saying something, you know, giving an answer and then us finding out it's wrong, because we all learn. The conversation that we have at this point of people saying, oh yeah, that word is, you know, that's a task instead of a guide, or that's an input instead of an output. Whatever it is, it helps us all to kind of see things from someone else's perspective. We're not going to do that on our own. If we're studying it on our own, we're not going to see those things. So we have these conversations, we record this so we can go back to it later and say, let me go through it again and be sure I really got it. And then we go on to the next question. We typically can do 25 questions in an hour. And then this is, of course, recorded so that it's available to you. It's also available to everyone else around the world. All of the IIBA's work for every single chapter, as long as it's not something that you have to pay for a chapter, is available to you. So you have access to the Tampa Bay's recordings. You're going to have access to the Ireland's recordings. And then as we work through it, we're going to continue through the chapter. So what I want you to do is look at the material that is on the link that I sent you.
Yeah,
if you're interested in the two files, go ahead.
Sorry, Thea. I was just saying that don't worry, I'll share all the slides and materials that Thea is talking about on the email with you guys.
Okay, very good, very good. So what I need you to do is this. I need you to look from the very beginning all the way through the next chapter. let's see, the business analysis, planning, and monitoring. Be sure I've got it in the right place here.
I think it's third chapter, knowledge area 1.
Okay. Okay, so read the chapters intro and through chapter 3 and be ready to answer questions on chapter 3 next session, which is in 2 weeks. You have 2 weeks. So if I were you, I would do this. I would read through it, look at the files that you're going to be receiving by email. And if you want to go through those chapter and practice test questions with the recordings that we have through Tampa Bay, you can go to the link that was provided to you. We have just look for chapter 3. And we have done this 4 times, if not more. We have 4 hours of recordings of going through these practice test questions. It's exactly this format. I'm not going to tell you that we are 100% professional because we're just real people. We have these conversations, we learn from each other, and we might have technical difficulties, as I said, but you've got a lot of resources out there for you to practice before you even come to the practice together with us. And then whenever we come together at the end of our session with the end of the 25 questions, we're going to be able to see what our score is as a group. If you're having challenges getting the same answer as some of the other people and picking the answer that's right, you might need to go through it a little bit more. But I guarantee if you go through the recordings that we have with Tampa Bay before you come to the next meeting and really, have studied and be answering the questions with us and see what your own score is, you're going to be ready for next week. This is a fantastic way. Most people spend literally 6 months studying on their own. We're going to be able to do this in just a few months. There are other ways you can do it. There's flashcards available. There's in-person study groups. There's virtual study groups. But this has been very effective for us. We currently in Tampa Bay have a worldwide audience. We have folks that join us in the middle of their night from Africa because they find it so valuable. We have members from all over the world. And so it's been successful for us. We've done it enough times where we've been consistently successful, and I'm confident that we will be successful in this study group as well. Now, I'm going to open it up for questions because I don't want to just tell you everything I think you need and not get the questions that you really need. So if anybody would like to either come off mute or put it in the chat, I'll be watching chat if you don't want to talk. I see somebody from South Africa on. Congratulations and welcome. So if you have any questions, I want to answer your questions.
Hi, Tia.
Hi.
Hi.
Tia, I was just wondering about those flashcards you just mentioned. Are they also available? Where can I find these flashcards besides the YouTube channels that you mentioned?
The flashcards that I have been told of, I know that Watermark has flashcards, and I know that Adaptive US, I believe, has flashcards. Watermark has given Tampa Bay a discount code of Tampa Space 21. You get 20% off of the flashcards. You can make your own if you want to, and I bet you if you Google it, you could probably find some free. But that's where I know the flashcards are available to you.
Got it. Thank you.
Adaptive US is a different company, similar to similar to Watermark, and it's Adaptive with no space US. And they do the same thing, except they specialize in only business analysis. Watermark has business analysis and project management and a couple of other things. There are lots of cheat sheets out there too. Alicia says she has the Watermark cards and they're good. So let me talk about some of the structure in the BABOK. Every chapter is structured a very similar way, and I'll send that to you also so that you can send that out in the email. But there are tasks, there's inputs, there's outputs. There's a few things that you kind of need a picture of. This is what this chapter is. It's at a very high level, which bothers me as a business analyst because I want things down to the black and white details. And at a high level, you've got too many inputs, you've got too many outputs, and it makes my brain a little crazy. I want one input or 5 inputs, and I want one output. I want to have it very linear. At a chapter level, though, you've got several things coming in, several things going out. Then you can break it down into each section. Each section has the same format, but it gets much more refined. So understanding that at the get-go as you start your studies helps you go, okay, for this one, I need to know these are the tasks, these are the techniques, there's specific techniques mapped to different chapters. I will send you that cheat sheet so that you can send it out with the email. Is version 3 the latest BABOK version, and is it enough for CBAP? Version 3 is the BABOK version that the CBAP is written on, also the CCBA and the ECBA. It is the latest version. Again, it is the version we wrote 10 years ago. We're in the process of working on asking them to help us rewrite it because we feel like it needs to be updated. There's been some changes in the world in the last 10 years. If you've never worked remote before and you work remote now, welcome to the changes. If you never worked in software before, but you do now, more changes. And so the book is written for an international audience. It's written with techniques that we think everyone can use, and there were some updates made from version 2 to version 3. If you want a list of those updates, if that's the way your brain works, it's in the back of the BABOK. We added about 10 techniques, maybe 15. I had them split teaching and learning into 2 different things because it's 2 different focuses. But that's the book that you need to get. We are not going to be putting out another BABOK anytime soon because right now they're working on getting the BABOK translated into multiple languages for people around the world to have access to so we can make our work more international. If we all use the same vocabulary, we don't have to worry about starting a meeting and explaining what this technique is and what this term is. We're using the same vocabulary and we understand what each other means. The book will be changed the next year? No. I don't expect this book to be changed for at least 4 years. So what you are working on now, you have a while to study it. Let me talk about the application process. Whenever you submit your application to take the test, you have literally a year from the point your application is accepted until you take the test, which is great. But to get the application accepted, you've got to do some things. You've got to have a certain number of education credits. This is going to provide you education credit. So I'm sure someone in Ireland, in the Ireland chapter, is keeping track of who's attending these. And it's really important that you actually participate. You don't just sign on and then walk away and come back at the end and sign off. To get good out of it, you need to participate. That means talk whenever you can. You need to have, I think, 2, maybe 3 professional references. They really encourage it to be a professional reference that already has a CBAP or someone who is your immediate manager. So it needs to be someone who can say, yes, this person has done these things. You also need to be able to map your experience to the different knowledge areas, which is another reason you need to understand what that knowledge area is. For instance, business analysis, planning, and monitoring. If you don't understand what that is, how can you say, I spent 20% of my 5 years doing this thing? So you really need to be able to map it. And the easiest way, in my opinion, is to be able to go through your resume and say, okay, I was on that job for 3.5 years, and I did these 5 projects, and of those 5 projects, it goes into these knowledge areas, or, 4 months here, 3 months here. They don't want it specific. They don't want to know how many specific hours. You kind of just guess. That's good enough. But you need to be able to say to the people that they're going to check your references, this is what I'm turning in. They're going to send you an email. The email may be sent immediately upon you saying submit application. So they need to know ahead of time. They have about a week to be able to say, yes, they did these things. So we are very strategic on how we study, how we create our application, and we'll have a session at the end probably about creating the application together because it's not something that's easy to do. There is a template, and it makes it a whole lot easier, but let's understand the BABOK first. And then taking the test. If you have a empty room with a computer, that's great. My room is not empty. I've got monitors, I've got shelves, I've got desks. They want to see the whole room. They want to see under the desk. They want to see that you don't have any notes anywhere. So my opinion is it's easier to go to somewhere that's proctored, a proctored test, which means is a testing center. And they will literally bring you into a room. They will take your purse and your coat and lock it away and give you the key to a locker. They'll give you a bathroom break in the middle. You sit in a room all by yourself. Usually they give you a piece of paper and a pencil so you can, write down whatever you want to write down and do whatever calculations you want. And you take the test. And it's all monitored, and they just be sure that it's professional. The reason for this is, I don't know if you've received it, but I've received emails and calls from people that say, I'll take the test for you so you can have the certification. That's not the integrity we want with this. We want to know if you have a CBAP, you earned it. You are the professional, and you can represent the IIBA in a professional manner because you've got the information. So that's why I suggest that you go ahead and just do a proctor test. You don't have to worry about getting your space set up. Let's see, we've got some other information here. Okay, in the chat. Very good. 7,500 hours is about 5 years. If you've been doing business analysis without having the business analyst title, you still qualify. But you need to understand the knowledge area so you can say, this is the knowledge area I have worked in, and this is the knowledge area I have worked in. For the CBAP, you need to have a certain number of hours in 4 of the knowledge areas, which means you got some leeway. That's not all of the knowledge areas. So just because you haven't been a business analyst doesn't mean you don't qualify to be able to take this test. Now, because you joined today, I know that you're interested in bettering yourself. And I know that you're interested in participating in this community. And I want to congratulate you because that's a huge step. It's not a huge commitment because, you could drop out if you want to. But if you are the person I think you are, we're going to go through this together. We're going to support each other. We're going to raise each other. We're going to be here for each other to encourage and to provide resources. And then we're going to take the test together. So in, say, 6 months, we'll plan on taking the test. Let's see, what's 6 months from now? Let's say Thanksgiving in the United States. Sorry, I forgot I was not in my own country. November is going to be about 6 months from now. Let's plan on the end of November taking the test. That gives you plenty of time to go through this, to take any other courses you want to, or any, supplemental if you feel like you need to, and get your application turned in, accepted, and then we can take the test, and then we can celebrate together, which is the most exciting thing. One of the things I really appreciate about the Tampa Bay chapter helping people is when people reach out and they say, I passed my certification, it was because I participated in your study group. That's what we do it for, right? The Tampa Bay chapter, we don't charge money for anything. We don't charge money for, participating in anything. So that's kind of our currency. We want that. We want to know that we helped you. So that's a cool thing. Let's see, what other questions do we have? Okay, let's do show of hands. I'm going to show participants here so I can see everybody. Show of hands, how many people have actually read through the BABOK already? Okay, I see James, I see Marzi.
Partially.
Okay. Okay, it's okay. Just starting. Okay, great. Just starting is a commitment.
Hi, Thea.
Hi.
So, Katin, I'm having great difficulty trying to download or access the BABOK handbook itself, the one that you showed you'd written. I'm a new joiner. I joined in March, and I've been going down a rabbit hole trying to access the BABOK handbook itself. The access that I have full membership, but I'm only able to download the 15-page PDF guide. But I can't seem for the life of me to find where this 500-page book is. It might be useful if you can show it to me. I've been struggling. I've been reaching out to people, and it's been really difficult for anyone to really show me where the book is placed on the website.
Okay, well, let me see if I can find it real quick, and I'll show it to you.
Thank you.
Let's see, you want it in English, correct?
Yes, please.
Okay, I don't want to ever assume that English is your choice. Okay, I see purchase the BABOK guide. Let me find out where you can download it. If anyone else has access to it before I get there, let me know. The Knowledge Hub.
My screen. Let me share my screen. I think
Okay, great.
I'm on the right screen. Okay, so if you will log into IIBA with your account and go to Knowledge Hub.
Yes, I'm there now.
So on Knowledge Hub, we'll go to Browse. This is the BABOK guide. And if you click here, you can download it.
Sorry, I'll just minimize my screen. So where do I browse again? Sorry, I was just minimizing my screen, so I wasn't.
Sure.
Okay,
No
right, I
worries.
see.
No worries.
Okay, yeah.
If you go to Browse,
Yep.
here is the BABOK guide. And if you click on this link, at the very end of this link, it will give you the access now, IIBA bookstore. From there, you can download it free.
I see. Okay, thank you.
No worries.
I want to call out what just happened here. This is what I saw. I saw our community helping each other.
Amazing.
So we can't help each other. We can't help each other unless we say, I have a need. So you got to call out your needs. And there's no shame in calling out a need, because we can't get better if we don't call out our needs, right? We can't solve the problem unless we name it. So were you able to, Abigail? Were you able to access it that way?
On the bookstore, if you'll go down, you can see that IIBA bookstore PDF, you can download. Click on it and it will get downloaded. And if you need any other translations, you can do it from here.
Yeah. So check the cost on ordering the book directly. I think you can order it off of Amazon too, but you can either order the book or print what you need. I don't like to print things because I want things bound. And so if I print it, then I've got to bind it, put it in a 3-ring binder, and it gets crazy. So I just prefer to have the book.
Yeah.
What other questions do we? Yeah, I like my books. Okay, for those of you who are CBAPs, especially those of you who are on the board for Ireland, we need to commit to have at least one CBAP at each study group. So I would like to ask you to be the official consultants or sponsors to participate in our education credit, because we don't get education credit unless you are actually in the room with us. So please organize that amongst yourselves. If you are a CBAP, or if you have just taken your CBAP and we don't know about it yet and you want to participate in these, let us know. Contact the Ireland chapter and let them know that you plan on participating in every study group that you can. If you commit to that but cannot make a study group, please also let them know so that they can find somebody else if you are the only person committed to that particular one. It is critical for the folks that are participating that we have a CBAP in the room. Okay, what other questions do we have? Okay, well.
Just a question.
While we look for more. Yes, go ahead,
Yeah.
Please. I love questions.
Yeah, thank you. Is BABOK just the version 3 is enough? Because we do have some other books and Knowledge Hub. I don't know if you recommend other resources for CBAP.
The link that I gave you is kind of the high-level guide to it, but it's the guide to the same book. I would hate for you to spend your time going and looking for so many different books whenever really for you to take the test, you've got to know the CBAP. Let me say it like this. Here in the United States, we have a group in the government called the Secret Service, and one of their jobs is to identify counterfeit money. You know, so $100 bill is our best thing. They study a real $100 bill so much. They study the squiggles and the curls and the font and the placement so that if they ever see one that's counterfeit, they know that's not the right one. It's not right. They might not know what's wrong with it, but they know it's not right. So what you need to do to be able to pass this test is to study the BABOK so much that you learn the voice of the BABOK. You're going to have these phrases you're going to read on the practice test questions. You're going to read that and go, that's not right. And then you're going to read another one and go, yep, I recognize that voice. And it's going to be easy for you. But it won't be easy if you don't know the voice of the BABOK. And so let me talk about the BABOK for just a few minutes, because we're going to talk about this in our meetings coming up. As we answer questions, you're going to find a question that has four possible answers, and you're going to look at one and go, as a professional business analyst with 30 years of experience, I know what I would do in this situation, and it would be question B. It would be answer B, but that's not what the BABOK says. The BABOK has an answer that might be a little bit different. So it's not always exactly what you would do with your experience in your profession. It's the answer the BABOK requires for you to pass the certification. So there's a little bit of fantasy that goes along with the BABOK because it was written, again, for an international audience 10 years ago, et cetera, et cetera. We have to learn the voice of the BABOK to be able to pass the test. I see a question. What can I do for you?
Ronald, do you have a question?
Yes. Hi, Thea. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity. I actually attempted the ECBA test, and this is actually going to be my first, the second attempt if I'm going to do it in the month of November. I had given it last November, and I'm currently pursuing master's in business analytics any which ways. However, considering the fact that I have a 16 years of experience, was considering giving an ECBA as a kind of a base knowledge for getting into the business analytics concept. Although I haven't actually done a BA kind of a role previously. I was actually into recurring revenue business and managing a team of 6. But just wondering whether this particular study group would help me. I know at the start of the session, we spoke about ECBA being one of the, the basic stepping stone for CBAP. But I'm just wondering whether this particular session would help me for ECBA.
Yes. The ECBA is based upon a few, I think 5 of the knowledge areas that we're going to be covering. We're going to cover all the knowledge areas. So if you want to pass the ECBA, we're going to be covering that knowledge that you need to learn. We will also cover a little bit more, which will give you more breadth of knowledge. It won't hurt you at all. And because you've had 16 years of experience, if you look at that and you can find 5 years, within the last 5 years, enough hours, you probably qualify for a CBAP certification test instead of an ECBA. If you want to start with the ECBA, it's up to you. But you have to decide why an ECBA might be more beneficial or why a CBAP or CCBA might be more beneficial to you. But we're going to qualify everyone and prepare everyone for the CBAP certification. So if you have the experience, I encourage you to go ahead and do the CBAP.
Got it. Thank you so much, Thea.
You're very welcome. And I want you to know, not passing the test is not a mark of shame. I actually took the CBAP certification test several years ago, and things in my life were pretty horrible, and I'm not going to tell you all the stuff that was horrible, but there were things going on that made it a little hard for me to concentrate. I didn't pass, and I was devastated. And then I decided, you know what? I'm a good business analyst. I don't need those letters after my name. But you know what? I've taught 30 boot camps. I've taught business analysis with the IIBA for 15 years. It's kind of time for me to do this. So let's do it together.
Yep.
anytime that you have a failure, it's an opportunity to learn. And, you know, we all have challenges, we all have failures, we all have stuff in our lives. But honestly, continuing to do the study groups beyond what's going on in my own life, this is my time that I know exactly what I'm doing. I know the BABOK, I know I'm helping people. I'm going to just continue to meet with this group of people and raise each other up. And we're going to go forward no matter what else is going on in my life. So I invite you to join us. And we will continue this. As you saw in the calendar, this is every 2 weeks. We're going to go as fast as we can, as long as we're making effective scores. If we get to a chapter that we make horrible scores, we might repeat that chapter because we want to make good scores. It's not going to do us any good if we go through it and absolutely just pretend like we're good enough and then go take the test. So the schedule may be adjusted or adopted depending on what our needs are. We're being very agile, and we're going to do it so that you can succeed in passing the certification. Okay, what other questions do we have?
Any more questions, guys?
One
We still
more
have time.
question. Yeah, I just submit my application and it approved. So, but I didn't pay for the exam. So I know that like I have a 1 year till May, I think 8. I need to pass CBAP, but it doesn't matter when I pay for the exam. Like, is that true?
You can pay for the exam the day before you take it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because I didn't know how long does it take for, preparing. So, okay. So that's cool.
Right.
And the way it's just piece of information. Because this group I didn't have a chance to participate in any group study for these 35 hours for professional development. I used I did some online learning from LinkedIn Learning, and it was acceptable.
Yep.
Very good. Very good. So let me talk about LinkedIn Learning. I found this out the other day. I thought was interesting. I found out that there are some libraries that have subscriptions to LinkedIn Learning. So if you have a library card with one of those libraries, you can get free unlimited LinkedIn Learning. Pretty cool.
Wow. But what library is that?
Well, LinkedIn Learning has an agreement that any library can plug into. So if your local library doesn't have that, all they have to do is go online and fill out the form. And then it gives access to everyone that has a library card with them to all of LinkedIn Learning.
Wow. I'm going to do that.
One of the things that I really appreciate about the people that have participated in my study groups in the past is they've created their own study material. For instance, they use Excel and they created a grid of these are the knowledge areas and these are the techniques and this is how they line up, and then they share them with us. And so for the Tampa Bay, we have a Google Docs repository, and people have donated things. They donated their presentations, things that they've learned, their study materials. It's all in there. So if you go to the Tampa Bay YouTube and look at any of our presentations, I always start out with, this is how you can reach us. And then there's a Google Drive. And I'll share that with you. I'll share that with you so you can send it out in the email too.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I do have that link. I'll include that link with the email.
Oh,
Yep.
Perfect. The thing I like about it is, all of us think a little bit differently. If you create something, it might not be the way my brain thinks, but it might be the way somebody else's brain thinks. So look through it and see if something resonates with you. I bet you in all of it that we have in there, something is going to be beneficial to you. And if you find something that needs to be improved, let us know. We always want to make improvements.
In fact, I'm also from last 1 month, I'm preparing for CBAP. So I have created some visual things for the BABOK guide. I'm actually going to put up those on Ireland Google Drive and will share with you guys so that you can
Good.
include your things as well there and learn from those things as well.
I have a
Yes.
question
Yes.
Yeah, Paula.
about the
Yes. Go ahead.
application. I read somewhere that there is best to record a maximum of 120 hours per worked month in the application. Do you know something about this? It's not a total of 8
Look
hours
at the
per day.
look at your requirements on your application, and it will tell you exactly what it needs. I would always encourage you to give a little bit more than it asks for. You just don't want to raise any flags.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
You're welcome. So the applications for the 3 different certification tests are a little bit different. So look at your application for the one that you're planning on taking and see what it says, and then give it just a little bit more than it's asking for. And again, be sure that the people you cite as references are prepared to respond to that email. Check their email twice. Be sure it's going to go to the correct email, that's really theirs. And what that's going to do is it's going to give you you are accepted to sit for the test. I didn't, before I started with the IIBA, I didn't know you sat for tests. I thought you took tests. So the language is a little bit different because it's an international audience. So you sit for the test, and if you don't have a proctor location near you, check and see if you can maybe use a university. They may be available. I was contacted by someone in Sri Lanka. In the whole country, they don't have a proctoring location. So they're working on getting one set up, working with the local university to do that. So our goal is in the month of November, we're going to take our certification test. We're going to do it together. We're going to, by then, have our application completed and accepted. We're going to have our studies done. We're going to know where we're going to go for the test. And we're going to have our reference material that either we get from each other or we say, you know what, I have a need for this. I'm going to make it myself, and then I'm going to share it with my compadres here. And we're going to get it done so that we can be prepared when we go in and succeed in this test. Did I miss anything?
No, you have covered
I
everything.
think we got
Tia.
it.
Yeah, we got it. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Tia.
My pleasure. We will get back together in 2 weeks. Do prepare. You will not be successful if you don't prepare. And if you do prepare, you're going to help the whole community raise up. You're going to bring your explanation of why this is the right answer, and you're going to be able to be confident in your knowledge as we go through the practice test questions. But you've got to start from the very beginning. If you have questions, you're welcome to reach out to us on LinkedIn. We're happy to help. That's what we're here for. Okay?
Yeah.
I want y'all to have a fantastic 2 weeks. Ms. Ireland, do you want to close this out?
Yep, sure. Thank you so much, guys, joining, and all the information that we have shared will be available to you guys over the email. But anytime you want to reach out before 2 weeks time, just reach out over LinkedIn, or you can email me on professionaldevelopment@ireland.iiba.org. No need to write it down. I'm going to share it because I know it's a very long email ID. I'm going to share it. And whosoever has accepted got acceptance on the application and are going to register for the exam, please reach out to me for the discount code. Watermark Learning is giving us the discount code as well. I can share it with you guys so that you can avail some discount on your exam cost. It's not too much of a cost, but then savings is really good wherever you are getting it. And all set for next week. I'm so excited. Hope to see you guys.
We will see y'all in 2 weeks. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Guys.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.